Hey, what's up, everybody? It's me, Danae, and I'm here with a message for you. Happy Thursday. Hope you're doing well. It's November 7th, 2024. Wait, wow, is it really cold? Wow, this week just flew by. Friday already tomorrow. I'm sure that makes somebody happy out there. Yeah, hope you had a great week. It was a busy one. That's probably why it seemed to fly by so quickly. I'm not gonna delay with too much chitter chatter. Going to get right into this message and hopefully get in and get out. King of Pentacles. King of Pentacles. Let's see. Wow. Queen of Pentacles. Definitely gonna take them. Oh no, not heartbreak. Why? What's the Three of Swords about? Let's see. It really could be a power couple. Well, I don't know, do I want to say? Well, essentially, yeah, there's power here for sure, but certainly some type of affluent couple that could be helping to maybe remedy community despair. And, you know, this could be charity. You know, or if not, like charity being literally given to the poor or to the needy or the less fortunate or whatever, those at a disadvantage. It just could be about creating opportunities for advancement from those situations. So maybe not necessarily giving away money per se, but using wealth and affluence and even influence for the purposes of building community and evolving, perhaps particularly marginalized communities, or whatever it is. Since I said charity, whatever it is that you have an affinity for, maybe that you have a soft spot for, or an emotional attachment to, maybe something that you have a relation to, because there's that horn. That was 5 horns. Because you have been there, you know, maybe, and that makes a lot of sense with the 6 of Pentacles, because it's kind of like what goes around comes around, and also like where you could, life happens in such a cycle where you could be in need one day or be able to serve a need another, and there's always potential for that dynamic to be ever shifting. In one way, shape, or form. It doesn't necessarily mean you'll be needy as in poor or unfortunate, but you just could be at, you know, in some type of need for something, you know, like how that transfer of charity could follow you on account of your own benevolence in one way, shape, or form. You could find that on another level or in another space and time, or, you know, like I'm trying to say, like with the Queen and King of Pentacles, they might not necessarily be needy, especially for money or material things, but that transfer of charity could materialize in another way, like a really brilliant investment idea or opportunity that brings in a lot of money and therefore advances your portfolio. And so they can actually even be more charitable if they choose to be, or build more things that make a deep impact on others and create avenues of wealth for others, you know. So it comes back around, but I don't know. I don't really feel like this Three of Swords. Let's see. Yeah, here's a Magician card. So I'm feeling like it's more so about being in a position to build and to, you know, make powerful investments that can, you know, be transformative one way or another for self and for others. That can, I'm really getting like this Three of Swords energy being like trauma that's exercised out of orbit on account of there being prosperity that's now circulating, instead of it being a cyclical transmission of trauma and maybe misfortune and poverty and scarcity. There's a new currency is circulating or about to, you know, that has how can I say this? I feel something on that about a new currency. Maybe it's the new currency is what's breaking generational cycles of poverty and scarcity and creating a new regeneration of wealth. Again, here is this manifestation energy here with the Magician, where it's like basically creating ways out of no way, or ways out of opportunities that may not have existed before, at least for some, and also how can I say this? Like these opportunities, these new opportunities to prosper are being created by those that have a resonance with a traumatic come from, you know, or have a traumatic, what do you call it? Point of reference, right? So not only is this like a phenomenal advancement for those that were disadvantaged in such a way that they wouldn't be, by conventional societal standards, they shouldn't be as prosperous as they are. But because they are, man and woman, or even if this is a collective, whatever it is that we're talking about here, it could be the two polarities within one person, you know, as a prosperous human being, you know, that knows the proactivity of wealth and prosperity and knows the reactivity and reproduction of it. Either way, energies that may not have been slated to sit in such a powerful and prominent seat, because they now do, and because, again, there's a reference point of what it felt like when they didn't have, or what it feels like not to have, or not to have help, or not to have an advantage. Again, to be marginalized, to actually be at a great disadvantage, especially within society. There's a different, like, your heart is fixed in the way of being a positive influence and even a change maker in this regard, to not only remedy those infirmities within society as best you can, of course, but also, to change trajectories for individuals and for communities, so that ultimately it's more or less canceled out, so this no longer, again, this is not the recycling. This is not, the trauma is not the currency that keeps getting passed down generation to generation, or even just family to, person to person. There's something far more fortunate that's now being circulated, or has the potential to, which ultimately, as the magician does, can completely change the physical, the material resonance of reality. And in this case, definitely pointing towards society itself in the most traditional and conventional ways that we're just used to things being, where if you grew up a certain way, you pretty much, or in a certain community, or at a certain economical status, whatever your stats may be, you're more or less shuffled into one ideal, I wouldn't say it's ideal, but one, what's the right word, projected or predictable outcome or another, and anything that is contrary to that would be more or less a phenomenon. But it's like that somehow being turned on its head. I don't know, something about that here. It's being turned over, so that it's not such a, you're not such a miracle case, or a special phenomenon to have come from nothing and perhaps gained everything, or at least some sense of financial security and independence here and stability, without having to do something nefarious to get it, to take yourself through any deeper traumatic cycles just to survive, to forfeit anything beyond those limitations with the resolve that, this is just the best that I can do, or with the mentality of dependency even, or victimhood or anything like that. It's like there's healing taking place, and it's very material, a very material healing in a lot of ways, because it feels like those that have reached a resonance with financial wellness to some degree, and also still have that point of reference, are more what's the word, compelled to change what they may or may not have been disadvantaged by, not just for the sake of, charity itself, but for the sake of evolution. I was trying to find something different than that word. Not for charity. Cultural evolution. And in that sense, it can look a great many different ways, because it really would be most dependent on what your heart space resonates with the most. That's what you can probably be most effective and impressionable in as far as change is concerned. So that could be race, that could be gender, that could be age, it could be economical status, it could be what's another word, like location. I'm trying to say like where you're from, where you live, nationality, all of that stuff. It could be any of that stuff. But that's the kind of giving back, like the smart investments that are being made to just completely change the face of society, as we have been both conditioned by it and as we have also contributed to it, so that it has a resonance that's more everlasting, and that we're not, again, either recycling bad news or, putting ourselves dismissing an opportunity to change, to make an impact on creation overall, like in whatever big or small way you do so. So again, as I like to say, it's not about being a martyr or even trying to be a savior of the world, but to have an outlook with the resources and influence that you have to make some impact that hopefully will turn the trajectory of experience around in such a way that it can never regress, and I don't even know how that gets to be done. I guess there are many different ways that it does, but if you're in the market for that, you already know what I'm talking about. And if you're not, then you're probably not somebody sitting in a seat such as that with such high intentions anyway. You know what I mean? Like it wouldn't apply. So I guess it doesn't really matter to try to give all of the examples I could think of, but it could happen in many different ways. And as a matter of fact, it's probably already happening if you do resonate with that ideal to just want to ultimately be the change that you wish to see, to be the change that you wish was available to you sooner than it was, or for a lot of people even at all, because some have more or less had to pull themselves up by the bootstraps in one way, shape, or form. And there is, of course, the temptation to be selfish and to say, well, I did it so somebody else can figure it out. But there's also the more righteous perspective to know that the more you can advance that productivity rate or frequency for someone else, again, in the same way you wished you could have had it for yourself, the better world you may, world experience or life experience you could be creating overall for everyone. Like back to what I was saying about the Six of Pentacles, even if it's the offering or service or charity or whatever it is that's given in a benevolent sense, doesn't have a direct, return, which most charity doesn't. It always comes back around, and it'll meet you wherever, it makes sense to do so, to benefit you most, because that's just, the way of the universe and how things flow back and forth. So again, as I was saying, creating this new currency of even paying it forward in a way creates an opportunity for those who may not have had much to pay forward at a time to now be able to do so in their own right as well, and on and on and on, until we all continue to ascend one another higher and higher in frequency, and further away from this density of trauma and toxicity and heartbreak and even fear and disappointment and so on and so forth. Pain and suffering. Now, do the powers that were and the principalities that have held influence and contempt, for so long, do they care for this? Probably not. This would probably be the greatest resistance to, and has been the greatest resistance to, evolution such as this, advancement in spirit and in truth that looks anything like this. But at this point in time, it's inevitable, it's irrefutable, and it's unstoppable. Let's see what else we got. I just heard it's coming in twos. Six of Swords. This is that crossover energy of moving. Yeah, like I was saying before, something about this new currency that is being circulated or about to be. And this is like the Six of Swords is like some advancement or crossover into a new reality, a new perspective, new ideals, maybe actually being transported to a new space and time. Let me see what's on the bottom. Yeah, after a great deal of struggle. The Knight of Wands, where it's been no easy feat to fight the good fight, to stay grounded, to stay on your feet, with some energy left to get to any particular ending, as it is with the 9. To, see any completion or closure of disfavor happen in your life to the point of a breakthrough to a new, more favorable experience. It almost seemed like hopeless, in some ways and shapes and forms, and still does for some, which is why all that I said is so important to raise the collective consciousness to a new frequency of creativity by circulating a refined sense of hope. That's what it is. Now, everybody won't be so open to receive it. And I almost like I'm pausing to consider, is it about privilege, or is it just about willingness? And it's probably more so about the willingness, because there is this prerequisite, so to speak, to, first of all, be resilient against the resistance that would want to ultimately knock you down and take you out, but also to be open to be transitioned and even transformed into a new way of thinking and being. Both of these takes a great deal of courage to then be in a posture of reception for this new currency of hopefulness. It's like you almost have to have an account first, an open account, before any deposit can be made. And unfortunately, some folks are broke. Broke, accounts overdrawn, depleted. Some are in bankruptcy, or on the verge of it. But there's still quite a few, enough that are available, for deposits, and in a position to, really receive them and are looking forward to them, as a matter of fact, even though they might feel broken down and bruised and worn out. Oh, looky here, though, with the Four of Cups and the Hierophant again. And this is the position that would be preferred by the so-called powers that be / the powers that were. Shout out to Shabi Zane. For us to continue to be rejecting those deposits and those offerings of faith and hope and love within ourselves that ultimately keep you from being receptive and being transferable to this new space and time. It keeps you grounded right where you are, looking back at the past with disdain and disappointment, and ultimately primed to recycle and regenerate this Three of Swords energy here. That's all you're really good for in that state of Four of Cups. And that's like a rejection of spiritual affluence for the sake of conventional comforts or societal security, let's say. And that's pretty much all that this generates or is generated. That's all that is generated from that state of being, is more of the Three of Swords. Let's see. Why am I doing it like that? Do I usually do it up like that? I don't think so, but I'm gonna do it right now. Okay. All right. Just switched it up. I just got kind of lost in in my program for a second. Like, how'd that happen? Okay, well, here we are. Knight of Wands. That's taking fierce action and well, that's having a fierce ambition, but maybe tactical action toward this receptivity. So I feel like it's pretty positive. You know, this is the energy of someone that's insistent to find their way to that transportation or the transference of energy and the upgrade, wherever that source may be. This is somebody that would be fiercely ambitious to get to it, willing to do whatever it takes, as a matter of fact, but also willing to put in the effort and the work and the dedication to see the mission through to its optimum destination or completion, I'll say, because I can't say to the end, because I don't know, I don't even know if it's a completion, but I guess to its optimum fulfillment, and whatever that regenerates to be beyond certain checkpoints, if this is making sense. The Knight of Pentacles has the determination for the journey, and the Knight of Wands has the passion and the drive. And then I see the Page of Swords under here. That's a curiosity and an intrigue. I think this is, that's the Ace of Swords. So I guess something here is making sense, although it feels a bit disjointed to me, I'm not gonna lie. The Knight of Wands is still here at the bottom. And okay, so this is moving away from the past, whether it be slowly but surely or fast and furious. That's the optimum motion away from the past, particularly the traumatic experiences of the past. So not to recycle them yet again or regenerate that experience. That's what's happening here. So that in itself is an expression of hopefulness, that with the Knights, they're so focused on their mission. It may not be the most grounded energy always, or the most reliable and secure, or even mature. But in this case, I feel like that's okay, because the determination makes up for, in this case, I think it makes up for the void in maturity or even wisdom, knowledge, and experience. Because if you're so focused on finding your way to a place of hope and so dedicated to stay the course, you ultimately can't be disappointed by what you find and how you evolve as a result of the initiation of that journey in the first place. So it's like you may set out with I won't say naive intentions, but with the Page of Swords, it could even be that, like just curious to see what's new, you know what I mean? Or curious to see what, I don't know, like curious to see, I don't know, I suppose, like curious to go and find out anything maybe different than what you've already known. And it just might so happen that what you find more than what you were looking for, but you also gained more than what you bargained for those that are truly, you know, favored for, you know, favored for their diligence to explore, take a chance, to take a risk on something different than what they know best. And of course, the other side of that are those that are too afraid to venture out because of what they don't know, because of the uncertainties, perhaps because of what they feel insecure about materially or otherwise. And those are the ones that may miss out, you know, miss out on an experience of a lifetime. Let me keep going. I'm gonna turn them back over now. Yeah, hangman here. And of course, this could go either way. This could be, you know, that feeling of wanting to have more information or be more enlightened. So it could look like waiting, you know, kind of being still in one place until you feel secure with the information or knowledge or wisdom that's gained. But it could also, in this case, be the, what do you call it? The inspiration to make the trip. You know, of like I said, of wanting to expand your knowledge, wanting to grow in wisdom and understanding, even, you know, or most importantly, of self. But this could be that inspiration of why, you know, the journey is taken courageously, because it's a realization that there is more to be gained. There's more to know. There's more ways to grow and advance. What's on the bottom? Let's see. Back to him again, Nine of Wands. Yeah, I would say in this case, that's a good place to be. The wounded warrior here with the Knight of Wands, that you wouldn't allow yourself to be stuck and stagnant again, as I said, like thinking back on the past or waiting for a savior or waiting for the Calvary to come and, you know, I don't know, like escort you to sanctuary or whatever. It's like you dusting yourself off, taking all that you do know and that deep desire, or I would say fiery passion to want to know more and grow more, and letting that be the fuel for your force. Not allowing it to stagnate you or, you know, keep you limited, or your lack of knowledge. Back to what I was saying, like not even allowing a lack of knowledge and understanding or even vision or foresight to keep you stuck in one place. So that hangman can really go one or two ways. It can be an advancing mentality, or it can be a captivating one. All right, let's get one more, and then I'm gonna just glaze over and see if there's anything I can clean up about this. Because it just feels like, I don't know, it feels strange. It seemed very clear in the beginning. Wow, here we go. Here's that advancement right here with the King of Wands. This could be the desirable aspiration. And it's like the ideal is conceptualized. Now, what needs to happen in order to realize it in truth, in flesh, in spirit? It could even be the spirit conceptualization or concept, however, if I'm saying that wrong, that is impressed and inspired before the action is taken. Like, this is the ideal identity impression, to be charismatic and creative and bold and you know, ambitious. But here is the maturity, though, you know, to have self-control and purpose behind your drive, you know, supreme intention behind your power. That would be the ideal that's reverenced. And then to go in to be, oh goodness, to have the ambition and determination to realize that aspiration is, I would say, like the transportation to this evolved transportation to this energetic affluence. That again, I mean, this is almost like a cycle. This is the inspiration and this is the path, and it leads all the way through this and then becomes this, again, having that point of reference when you were just here needing a break, needing support, needing a helping hand or some understanding, a lucky break, a leg up, anything. And then you got it, you have the point of reference of what it took for you to get it, and now sitting in the seat of the King of Pentacles, fully gathered in your highest value, you know, like very profitably so and prosperously so. Now being able to reinvest that energy back into the economy, so to speak, like the ethereal economy, in such a way that it allows someone else the opportunity to follow suit. Maybe a lot of someone else's to do what you did. Maybe perhaps on an even grander scale. So ultimately, this keeps cycling up and up instead of spiraling down. And that's the way the collective gets to ascend in consciousness and creativity, in a more sure and certain way than it's been conditioned to, but hopefully even in a more accelerated way than it could have ever have been projected. It's a new currency of hopefulness being circulated. And it's not like, oh, I know somebody going to come around and help me, but it also is, I know that I'm not alone and I'm not out on a limb, and that the more, and for those that, you know, are in the position to be supported and be helped along, you're not absolutely met with the despair of no one caring and there being no viable potential or possibility of that actually happening, because there's more evidence with this pentacle energy. It's more evidence that is the sentiment that's shared among those that actually have the capacity to make an impact and be an influence in a positive way, where it's not necessarily a dependency that it's absolute and you're entitled to it, but at least there's enough of a hope to fuel your own ambitions to, again, kind of pull yourself up by the bootstraps, knowing that if you at least have the energy and the determination to do that much, it's much more likely that there could be something or someone to meet you halfway and help to accelerate your efforts or really support you and get into a new level, an ascended level, an advanced level. And that energetic shift alone, again, here with the Six of Swords, can really make a deep impact on the mentality of creation. Again, not to be dependent, not to be waiting on someone to come, you know, pull you out of the muck and the mire, but really just to be encouraged that if you are willing and able to help yourself, there is support for you as well, or there could be. Right now it's kind of set up, well, it has been kind of set up where you could, in some ways, and of course, depending on your demographic, you could put your best foot forward. You know, you could really give it all you got, down to, you know, back to that Nine of Wands, where you literally have given every ounce of your energy toward becoming this ideal, or like doing all the right things, taking all the right steps, and still feel like you're trudging through mud, or like there's always some hand pulling you back or pushing you back, you know, but very rarely feeling like there's actually a hand helping you up. You know what I mean? There are far more hands pulling you down than helping you up. So it feels, and so it seems, and so therefore it is conditioned to believe that that is so, which ultimately has the impact on the ambition and the drive to do anything more than what's absolutely necessary just to survive at a certain point, when you become so exhausted with going above and beyond and being resisted and really having not much to show for it, or not getting very far, you know? So it's something here about, again, like this new currency of knowing that, and it could be something that circulates at first much slower, more slowly and surely than anything, but enough so that people are starting to be rejuvenated and regenerated to their own strength and capabilities. And really, honestly, that's all some folks really need, is to know that within their own strength, left in, to their own devices, without any interference, unlawful or unfair resistance, you have the liberty to persist. Some people would work their asses off, especially knowing that it would actually be a fair result, So there are some that, of course, absolutely want to hand out and want to be taken care of and want, feel entitled to the world handed to them on a silver platter in some way, shapes, and forms. And I'm not saying that there's absolutely anything wrong with that, but in a distorted way is what I'm referring to, not in a righteous way. But also in a distorted way, they're not really willing to do much for it, even if you told them they had all rights and liberties to do so. And then there are some that would absolutely love to be able to say that they advanced themselves to their greatest potential by themselves, more or less, or at least fairly and justifiably by their own merit. But the way that society is set up, those principalities, those oppressions and oppressors to push you back so that you never really get to realize the fruit of your labors. Ultimately, it's become more of a conditions mentality more than it even is an actual force anymore, because it doesn't have to be. Once you've conditioned the trauma within an individual to believe that no matter what I do, I'm always going to be resisted. So anyway, there's a breaking of that mentality. There's a breaking of that frequency circulating, that perhaps the currency of hopelessness is being bankrupted against the highest and elevating consciousness of creation. And here's the new circulation of hopefulness being exemplified by those that have, reached a certain point of affluence and are willing and able to be charitable with their privilege. And even if that means by example, that also makes an impact and has an influence too. But of course, I'm actually talking, in this case, I'm talking about those that are building for the purposes of shifting these, reshaping the imperfections and impurities in our society, reforming them. There it is, reforming the constructs of society as they were, to evolve to something else much more productive. And that could be in the business that you create and the morals and ethics that you stand for and pass down even through your legacy. It could be in the actual charity that you offer or create. It could be in the opportunities that you develop for others to advance. It could be in the investments that you make in others that you see promise in. And that doesn't have to be monetary. It could even just be attention and time, influence, encouragement, counseling, advice, coaching, whatever the case may be. It's all adding up. It's definitely what we say? It's running up. But anyway, so I guess it's something more so about that there. I feel a little bit more connected to it now than I was as I was speaking. But yeah, here's the King of Cups, like yet another king Only one we're missing is the King of Swords, but this is just like being intentional to act out of love, you know, and compassion and kindness. And certainly in the masculine form, it's not to be taken advantage of or to be so emotionally attached or seduced that the practicality and reason is lost in your ambitions, but it's certainly to have a heart, you know, and to lead with it where it matters most. Another ideal that has been lost through society constructs of achieving success. Let's see what else we got. Wow, here's the Queen of Wands. These two came up. Well, she was this way yesterday. What's that I'm looking at? Wow. All three of these were in yesterday's reading. I was just trying to say, like, she was looking at, but you know what? When I watched it back, I realized that they were both looking inward to the Lovers card. The Queen of Wands and the King of Cups were both looking in the same direction to the Lovers, and then the Four of Wands, which was right after that. So, I mean, for whatever it's worth, it don't really matter which way we splice it, but there's a reason why that Four of Wands is unveiled, you know, because it's about establishing a standard that is like unwavering for you, you know, your rules of engagement, your motivations for giving and passion for creating, your boundaries for investing or for committing and attaching, whatever it is that we're talking about here. It's all of that being mastered to the point of supreme security and intentionality behind your efforts. For yourself, by yourself, first and foremost, and in any collective experience or relational experience that you're committed to. But that is ultimately what is the source for whatever it is created outside of that covenant. You know, again, whether it be one with yourself or one with someone else, or established professionally or creatively even. And that, you know, establishment of good practices, you know, righteous business practices or creative practices or life practices is, again, what is reforming what was the standard and regenerating something altogether, regenerating something more refreshing. Yeah, because this is the activity, this is the sentiment here. The Four of Wands is the establishment. So it's very much, it definitely, you know, I've been slow to really call out this whole ideal of partnership here as much as it has shown itself in quite a few readings, because, you know, some people are in the market for that, some people are not. Some people are already in a connection, and in that case, it usually means an advanced commitment or a heightened commitment or expression of that partnership. And also because there are so many different ways that you can express partnership that don't have to be, well, there are other ways, I won't say so many, but there are other ways to express the indication of partnership, even between the King of Pentacles and the Queen of Pentacles, as I said, that really just speaks more to the union of self, you know, having all of you cohesively in covenant. So I guess whatever way that it applies, please take it as it resonates. And I hope that you got something out of this message, but certainly for sure, if partnership is absolutely a thing, you can definitely look forward to finding yourself in a union that is not only prosperous to you and the legacy that you desire to build and create, or the legacy that you already are creating and wish to protect and advance. There's a lot more in store for you, you know, for your influence that you may or may not even be conscious of just yet. Like, you may have a glimpse of how you may intend to make an impact or be of service or make an impression, give back, you know, add value. But it just has been feeling like over this past week that you could only really be touching the surface of the potential that you truly do have. And I won't even say potential, I would say what is most likely inevitable, because if you already have the mindset, remember I said, like, I'm talking to those that have the mind to be effective, you know. If you already are operating in that aspiration, you know, as I said here, and are finding yourself or soon to find yourself in the position to actually put something on it, if you know what I mean, like do something about it. Because it's one thing to have the passion and the drive, it's another thing to actually have the resource and the capital to materialize it. For those, you know, that are in that position that aren't just talking about it, but actually proven to be about it, oh my goodness, like the way you're about to be advanced, like I said, how you're sowing is going to blow your mind, how it returns unto you multiple times fold. And of course, to maintain the mentality to continue to give and pour out just as much as you receive in favor and fortune is only still going to compound that return as you are, you know, steadily committed to it. And to the point where you can't outdo the universe, not even if you tried. There used to be a song that we would sing in church that says, you can't beat God giving, no matter how you try. How was the rest of it? The more you give, oh man, I'm getting chills and I'm getting emotional. The more you give, he gives to you. Just keep on giving, because this much is true. You can't beat God giving, no matter how you try. But blessed are those that are going to put their best foot forward anyway. Man, oh man, you have no idea how much the divine is excited to try to upstage you by pouring out into you even that much more than what you ever could have even had the audacity to ask for. Man. Well, I'm gonna leave that there. You can't be God-given. Yeah, to all those that have the heart and the mind to match up with the heart of the divine, well, I should say the mind to match up with the heart of the divine, peace be unto you, peace and prosperity, eternally and everlasting. And I'm looking forward to seeing what is manifested from that high frequency of mindfulness. And I'm in prayer and proclamation that your efforts would be advanced and accelerated beyond the limitations of what you would even want to control or contain. And that's the outgoing and the incoming. That benevolence would ultimately just completely consume your life in spirit and in truth. It is so. Okay, so I'm gonna leave it there. Okay, finally, for real. Thank you for listening. Thank you for watching. Until next time, as always, I'll leave you with peace.